Welcome to the Personal Finance Podcast for Doctors with Meena Shriram and Chanda Varma. This podcast aims to simplify all aspects of personal finance and helps you make smart and informed choices about money so that you can live happier and stress-free lives. Today's episode is brought to you by Chanda Varma, who is a financial coach and vice president with the doctor practice at MFA, the only company in India having a dedicated practice for doctors. Over the last 8 years, Chanda Varma has interacted with more than 3,000 doctors and has been a speaker at medical conferences and conducted many financial literacy webinars for doctors. Needless to say, she understands the finermost nuances of a doctor's financial life. Do listen to this episode. And now, over to Chanda.
Hi. Today I want to talk about one of my experiences with a client because I believe that real-life money stories help us to reflect on our situation and see how we can be better. When it comes to money and planning finances, all of us think that buying gold, mutual funds, blue chip stocks, insurance policies, property or land, having different investments of these types means I am sorted. I've planned well. Isn't it? Nothing wrong in that. I thought so too. But this is only the half truth. It's a myth. I learned the difference between planning and just having a bouquet of investment products only after I started working in financial services industry. Let me explain. Recently, I met a doctor couple, both in their late 40s. They had their own practice and doing very well given their age and experience. The doctor told me that he was financially very savvy. He had managed things pretty well on his own. His investments had given him good returns in his opinion. So quote unquote his response to me was, I am sorted. I read a lot. I have been making investment for years. I understand how to pick stocks, mutual funds, etc. I also happen to know people in good positions in leading finance companies. They are my patients and help me. I also understand that I may not be an expert like you, but I've not done bad. So what value add would you do? What would you have me do anything differently and why? Well, if I were you, I would feel, hey, the guy is right. He's sorted. But is he truly? Let me tell you the 3 points that anyone else may have missed. Now, the fact is that having met more than 3,000 people, I can say that most people think that their financial investments are sorted. But in reality, only 10% can truly say that they are sorted. And no, I don't mean to demean anybody by saying this, but the truth is only an expert can tell you how well you have taken those crucial financial calls and decisions. It's like in a medical field, you have patients who come to you for a second or third opinion, right? Why? Because only you as an expert in that field can correctly evaluate or know with authority whether a treatment or an operation or a course of action recommended by any other doctor is advisable or not. You can give a point of view on that. I could never do that on my own, even if I were to read and study thousands of medical books or have lots of doctors in my friend circle. Similarly, only a financial coach with experience, with expertise in that field, someone who does the planning day in and day out can tell you if you are really sorted by asking you the key questions. How many of you can answer this question straight off the bat? What are your monthly personal expenses? Do you know how much you spend every month? Trust me, this basic question of investments cannot be answered by most people, even the most experienced one. This is a very simple example though. When we have diagnosed the so-called sorted people's portfolios, we have identified several points which go missing for a layman, such as having too many stocks or too many mutual fund schemes, such as 40 or 50 schemes or stocks with no particular logic why it was bought. It was the flavor of the month. They are very old blue chip stocks. They are lying for ages. That's the reason we get. Many people have too much of cash lying in savings account or in FD. Many people have no term insurance policy Or some have several insurance policies, but none of them are marked under the MWP Act, which is a very important act. No thought is given to how your practice will move ahead after you, whether your kid's going to take over or not. Not knowing what is the next corpus that you would need if you were to, let's say, slow down in future. How would your money last? Or what would be the impact of tax or inflation in the later years? Such questions make people realize that they just have a basket of investments. That doesn't mean that they are sorted. This is point number 1. Secondly, in this case, the man was the key decision maker for all investment related decisions. His wife had no inclination or understanding to take decisions. Kids had no clue on what was being done. They were leading their own lives. So if you see, this is also the case with every Indian family. One of the spouses takes the lead role, the other one simply follows or is in the knowing. So when I asked this gentleman, if anything were to happen to you, can your wife or your grown-up kids take decisions in future as good as you? Do they have the same interest, inclination, knowledge and acumen? We have to think of the next 10-20 years, not just about now. Every family needs that one custodian who can guide the family at all times. I have clients who tell their kids, if anything happens to me, this is Chanda's number. Call her. She knows everything. She has all details, and not just what she handles for me, but also every other asset that I have planned for our family. Third, yes, this doctor had 2 advisors already. He had people in high financial positions to help him. But who was that one person he had who would take a leadership role, like the role of a family doctor? We have seen that every advisor works independently, in silo, without talking to each other. They are competition to each other. So what you really need is someone who is that leader who takes a 360-degree view of all your financial decisions and investments with anyone that you may have. Now, even Sachin Tendulkar or Nadal, who are the best in what they do, they have a coach in their lives. So a coach is a person who lets you be in the driver's seat but is a seatbelt for you. He's there with you in good as well as bad times. So it's not only about being sorted on the face of it. It's not about just having investments. Your investments are not a financial plan for you. Planning is a process, and the output of that process are these investments. It's not about you having information, basket of products, investments. It's pretty much like what you doctors practice in your life, in your everyday practice. When a patient comes to you, you don't jump and prescribe a medicine straight away. You don't tell him go get operated. You follow a process. You first understand a patient's history. You check him. You ask him questions. You run some tests. Then you diagnose, and finally you prescribe a treatment course. And this treatment will differ from patient to patient. It will also change according to the way the patient responds. So therefore, an expert only understands the finer nuances, and then only he can tell you if you are finally, honestly sorted. And if you are, kudos, don't rock the boat. But if there are gaps, you will only know when you go through this process first. Hope this helps you to reflect on your own situation. Be safe, take care, and God bless.
You were listening to the Personal Finance Podcast for Doctors with Meena Shri Ram and Chanda Varma. If you find this podcast relevant and interesting, do share it with other doctors as well. It will be great if you leave a review, share, like, and subscribe. You could also let us know if there is any specific topic that you would like us to cover. For any queries or help, you can get in touch with MFA's Doctor Practice Team at 892-800-6140.